So I've made another database. Here it is. FNLN, first name, last name. And here's the table in the database names. It has 3 fields, ID, first name, and last name. And here's my data. Let's print them all out. First I tell MySql to connect to the server, localhost. Here's your identity, root. Here's your password, blank. I'm on a standalone computer, it's okay. And the DBase name, it's FNLM. I also tell it to assign all that to $con. Now, did I connect? Let's test it out. I tell MySql that if you try to connect to localhost here, but you end up with an error number, then echo out onto the screen, fail. Concatenate that with something I really need under connect under error. That's the string version of the error. Not the error number, but the string version. I need that so I can find out where my error is. Now I write the query. So I'm going to select every record from the names table. And I'm going to assign that to $Q. This does not run the query. This is a variable assignment statement. I'm taking this string and assigning it to $Q. This guy runs the query. I tell MySql to run a query. It says, what query? So this one here, $Q. Get everything from the names table. Oh, and the required connection information, you'll find that here, $con, in the $con variable. You'll find the server name, ID, DBase name, password, everything is there. And assign the result to this variable, please, $R. I define the query, then I ran the query. I've got all my records in $R. Here's the HTML tag again, and start and end head tags, start and end title tags, and the body begins. This will go up in the tab of the web page. So the body begins. I have body again. And here's the header for the ensuing printout on my web page. Notice it's an H1 tag, so it'll be very big. Now this is a tag for smaller print. That's going to be the data from my table. An unordered list now begins. Oh great, so now all my records will be bulleted. It'll look nicer. Here's my while loop. I tell MySql to fetch all the records from this variable, $R, and put them into an associative array so that I can get to my data fields very easily. And assign it here, $0. Alright. Now, while this variable, $0, is pointing to a record in this list of records and not pointing to the end of the record list, do these commands. Let's look at these commands now. So, he just grabs all the records, assigns it to 0, and the system says, while this guy, $0, is not pointing to the end of the list. Well, it's at record number 1 right now. First thing it does is this. Puts in a line tag. Okay, it's going to get bulleted. And it's going to be bold. PHP kicks in. And I'm going to echo onto the screen $0's first name field. I'm going to concatenate that with a comma, space, concatenate that with $0's last name field. End of statement. End of PHP. Jumps down here. Ends the bold, ends the line tag. End while. Jumps back up here. While $0 is not pointing to an empty record. Now it's at record number 2 automatically. Jumps down here. Does the line in bold, and then echoes out onto the screen $0's, that's row number 2, its first name and its last name. Puts that onto the screen, hits the end while, jumps up here to reevaluate the condition. Am I at the end of the record list? No, I'm not. I'm now at record number 3. Jumps down here, and that's automatic, by the way. Jumps down here to line and bold tag, of course. I'll just mention these guys now. And he echoes out onto the screen $0's, that's row number 3 now, its first name and last name. Into PHP, hits the end while, jumps back up here. I'm now at the end of the record list now. No, you're at record number, I think it's 4 now. Jumps down here, prints out row 4's first name, row 4's last name. Jumps down here, end while, jumps back up here, reevaluates. Am I at the end? No, I'm at record number 5. Jumps down to here, echoes out record 5's first name and last name field. Jumps down here, end while, back up to the top. Where am I now? At the bottom? No, you're at row number 6. Okay, keep going. Echoes out onto the screen, row 6's first name and last name field. Yada, 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 yada. This guy keeps going till he hits the end of the record list. So, when you get to the end of that list that's being evaluated here, that's the official end of this loop. And the system will now go to the next line, which is /ul, the end of the unordered list. Then you have the end of the h2 tag, end body tag, end HTML, and now you have the end of the program. So let's run this now, see what it looks like. Here's my index.php. Let's run it. I go to my browser, key in localhost, that's my server, and this is the folder on the server that contains my program. So I go to the program location on my server and hit enter, and bingo, there's all my records. Voila. First name, last name, first name, last name. And they're all bulleted. Looks very nice. Now in the next video, we'll make a simple form that enters data into our DBase table. Not a pretty form at all. It really isn't. But we're not doing CSS here. We're just learning how to basically get data out of and into a DBase table. And that within a web environment. This is George Boole. Good luck now.